And my foot is soaking wet. Oh, what?
Hey guys, it's good to see you. How's it going? Today we're taking a look at the Axiom Tempo. The Tempo is a pretty long-awaited disc, something I've been pretty excited for. These were originally released back in 2023 as part of the Circuit Challenge, and for a long time there was really no way to get just a stock Tempo. They didn't sell them just like in stores. You could only get it as part of that challenge. And it's been like that for a long time. Now finally, MVP has done what we've all wanted them to do, and they've released what is pretty close to a stock release. This is part of the OTB Open Special Edition runs. It's in this really cool, soft Proton plastic that's really beautiful. These came out spectacular. So we're going to test this guy out a bunch of holes and then compare it to a bunch of popular overstable approach discs and see if this one is the right one for you. Let's jump into it. Nice. Air ball. Just got to calibrate. It's been storming here all day, just finished. So I am fearing for my life on these T-pads. Woo! A little slick. Yeah. Get down there. So I think a lot of people are going to come into this video wondering what the stability is on the Tempo. That's kind of been one of the bigger questions surrounding it, as far as will it be that zone type disc, or is it going to be closer to the Envy? And if you go on MVP's website and look at this disc, they say that it's not overwhelmingly overstable, but it's overstable enough to still be really torque resistant on the backhand and forehand. And I think they say that specifically because they wanted to temper expectations, and they didn't want people thinking this was just going to be a zone or an entropy, but instead this is going to fit somewhere in between the Envy and the entropy. You got to keep in mind that they do say this has a 4 glide, which I'd say is pretty accurate. This is definitely more glidey than my zone or the entropies I've thrown in the past, which actually is a really unique spot in the bag. Not get that out far enough. Not quite. All right, 240 feet through this gap. Slight uphill, slight low ceiling. See what we can do. Slipping and sliding. We're down there. One thing that flight illustrated pretty well is that the fade is pretty gradual. It's definitely a lot less aggressive than you might be used to on your overstable approach discs, which lets you go a little bit straighter and kind of penetrate further. Oh, player A, he's back, boys. Oh, take that, player B. Player B freaking sucks. All right, guys, we're here at hole 16 on the bottom course. We have a 200-foot water carry, but the basket's just right there. This is a great hole for overstable approach discs, so we're gonna test out a bunch. So of course we have the Tempo that we'll be testing. We also have the Eagle McMahon Rebirth Envy, DGA Breaker, Z Zone from back. I think this is the 2020 Tour Series. We have this pretty overstable Harp, as well as a first run AVR X3 that's pretty beat up, but still plenty overstable. All right, we're gonna start off with the Tempo.
And my foot is soaking wet.
Oh, what the frick? The first shot. Oh, dang. Well, that is absolutely devastating that that didn't go in. That sucks. That would have been awesome. I guess next we'll go Envy.
It's way too high. You can see how that guy...
The Envy is definitely a lot glidier, a lot less overstable, a lot more neutral than the Tempo. Let's go zone.
Yeah, that's a lot more overstable. Whew. That was a pretty good shot too.
Yeah, that zone, definitely a lot less glide. Maybe like the same overstability, but just a lot less glide, so it starts fading a lot sooner. Let's go DGA Breaker. Yeah, that actually, not a great throw. Also the wind kind of picked up. That reminds me way more of the Tempo than the zone does. Let's go AVR X3.
Yeah, you see that guy has a lot more glide. Threw that way too high.
A lot more glide, less overstable for sure than the Tempo. And we'll go Harp.
That is beefy. Beefy boy. Heart.
So if I had to rank these guys from least overstable to most overstable, and also from most glide to least glide, I would say the most neutral of the bunch and least overstable is the Envy. And then we have the AVR X3 comes in next. Kind of predictable that those two discs would be the least overstable. They're not like traditional overstable approach discs like the Zone. Those are more like traditional throwing putters. And then we have the Breaker, which might be a little less glide than the Tempo. I think I could push the Tempo a little bit further than the Breaker. Like the Breaker is just like a weird disc with low glide. I would say the Tempo is a little more overstable and also a little more glide. Kind of weird, but the Breaker is a weird disc, so kind of fits the bill there. Then I'd go Tempo. Clearly, I resonate quite well with the Tempo already. It's a really great stability, fits a really good slot in the bag. Then we have the Zone, and I'd actually say that the Zone is a good amount less glide than the Tempo. And then finally the Harp. It might just be this specific Harp. This one's pretty new and it's in this, what plastic is this? I think this is like the VIP Glimmer Ice. Freaking Trilogy plastic names. Like, do not start with me. But this guy, most overstable. Now, I am biased because I just almost aced with the Tempo, but I really, really love the Tempo. I mean, that is a really fun disc. One thing that I think a lot of MVP throwers are gonna like about the Tempo is that it's really flat and really shallow. I feel like one of the reasons why the Entropy never really caught on in popularity outside of just like people who bag a lot of MVP is because it's on the deeper side. I feel like ever since the Zone just exploded in popularity, people have really been searching for slimmer overstable approach discs. I'm gonna compare this guy to a few popular options so you can kind of see how the Tempo stacks up against the Zone, the Harp, etc. And this guy's pretty much the thinnest of the bunch. It's maybe just a hair thinner than the Zone, but they're basically the same. They might actually be the same. Might just be like a plastic difference. The profile is just extremely similar to the Zone generally. And if you're an MVP Axiom fan and you're looking to buy a new disc, why don't you go check out this video's sponsor, Grow and Throw. They're found here in Columbia, Missouri. They're a retailer. They have a wide variety of discs. You can find them online at growandthrow.shop. All right, now we're gonna throw this guy in the field, just on some controlled lines, some different angles, see how it holds up. All right, let's try some Anheuser. Let's go Heiser. Well guys, it does it for the Tempo. I'm really surprised how much I like this disc. It's not quite as beefy as your typical Zone or Entropy or Harp type disc, but it fits a really good spot in the bag where I'm more of like a finesse thrower. I'm very rarely throwing my very overstable discs. And if I'm just in a wide open approach shot, I would much rather reach for a straighter disc like my Pixel or a little more overstable disc like an Envy that's not quite as low glide as like a Zone. And I think this actually fits my game a lot better than the Zone. I actually took the Zone out of my bag like a month ago in lieu of the Breaker, which longtime fans of the channel will know I fell in love with the Breaker on this channel. It's a great disc. This reminds me a ton of the Breaker because it has the torque resistance of the really overstable putters without being extremely overstable. Like, it's just a really nice stability and glide like ratio for approach style shots. And off the tee, I think it's gonna be a great throwing putter as well. And the fact that it's board flat, really thin, great forehand, backhand, the grip feels amazing. It's a winner all around. And I think this is going to be an instant favorite of a lot of MVP throwers. So all in all, it's a great disc. I highly recommend it. I appreciate you watching this review. It means a lot to me. Go let me know in the comments which Axiom disc I should be reviewing next. And if you've already thrown the Tempo, let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Go check out this video's sponsor, Grow and Throw, growandthrow.shop. And as always, I'll see you next time.